A YouTuber went live. For 6 hours, he appeared to be playing video games. The stream looked normal. The audio sounded real. The gameplay never stopped. While viewers watched, a pregnant woman was being murdered. And at first, police believed he couldn't possibly be involved. He had an alibi, a public one, a digital one, a YouTube live stream. But what investigators would eventually uncover would turn that alibi into something far more disturbing. Natalie McNally was 32 years old. She lived in Lurgan, Northern Ireland. By all accounts, she was thoughtful and kind. She was from a tight-knit family who adored her. And in December of 2022, she believed her life had finally fallen into place. A pregnancy test had confirmed it. A prenatal appointment placed her at 15 weeks. Natalie was thrilled. Those around her said she was over the moon and thrilled about her pregnancy. She was going to be a mother. Her parents were excited too. This would be their first grandchild. Natalie even had a plan. She was going to reveal the pregnancy to the rest of her family on Christmas Day, just days away. She believed she was having a boy, and she had already chosen a name, Dean. An ultrasound had been scheduled to confirm it. Everything just felt right. The pregnancy was the result of her relationship with Stephen McCullagh. Stephen was quiet and reserved. He was known online for gaming videos and sci-fi content. The pair had met in August of 2022 on the dating app Bumble. Things started with a message. "Hey Nat, it's that robot weirdo from Bumble." They joked and worked around to planning a live date. Soon the pair went bowling. Then they played crazy golf and shared food and drinks. They talked about pets, cars breaking down, jobs, health, and their hobbies. Even Natalie's love for cheese became a running joke between them. It seemed that Natalie had found her Mr. Right, and everything appeared harmonious. There were no arguments, no insults. There was no obvious conflict. Text messages revealed that Stephen said that she was the sweetest, loveliest person I've ever met. And Natalie wrote back, "We have a lifetime to do fun stuff together." And then, simply, came the "I love you." When Natalie told Stephen she was pregnant on October 12, 2022, even though they had only been together a couple months, his response was that of a happy, soon-to-be father, full of excitement and anticipation. He spoke about building an extension on his home, about the pair moving in together, and he referred to their baby as Little Squish. Stephen had even made a pact with Natalie. He told her, "If you can't drink, neither can I." He told her that we're in this together. You've no idea how happy you've made me. But on a cold night in December, just days before Natalie's next prenatal visit, it was all over. Their new relationship, their baby, their future together was ended by the blade of an unknown killer. As it is customary, police immediately look at spouses and partners to eliminate them from suspicion. The police looking into Stephen discovered that he had been online live gaming that evening, and the broadcast itself had just looked ordinary. Stephen sat at his computer playing games, talking casually, nothing unusual. For hours, the stream continued, unbroken and uninterrupted. To all watching, it was clear that Stephen was home, engaged in his regular routine. He appeared comfortable, relaxed, and occupied. It was the kind of alibi detectives rarely question. So with such a public and documented, highly visible alibi, police moved on, looking for other leads. While Stephen's live stream played, events were unfolding elsewhere. That night, Natalie's neighbors heard noises, disturbances and screams inside Natalie McNally's home. A violent attack was unfolding. There was no forced entry. She likely knew the person who entered. This assault was not a quick action. Instead, it was prolonged and brutal. The manner of the attack revealed that this had to be personal. Natalie McNally was stabbed, beaten, and strangled. She was 15 weeks pregnant. The attack lasted long enough for someone to hear, for someone to fight, for someone to suffer. Then it ended. Natalie and her unborn child were dead. Meanwhile, across town, Stephen's stream continued. Online, calm, normal. Those on the stream were oblivious to Natalie's death as they continued watching gameplay, while police would later try to determine who had been at the scene. Detectives began doing what they always do. They built a timeline, minute by minute, movement by movement. Who knew Natalie? Who saw her last? Who had motive? Who had opportunity? And quickly, one name rose to the top: Stephen McCullagh, the father of her unborn child. The man she had spent months texting. The man who knew she would be home alone. The man who knew her routine. But then came the obstacle. He had been live streaming for hours publicly on YouTube. The video showed him sitting at his computer gaming, talking, moving, reacting. It looked authentic. Detectives could see him. They could hear him. They could watch him. And crucially, the stream covered the exact window when Natalie was believed to have been killed. At first glance, he couldn't have been there. The alibi wasn't private. It wasn't claimed. It was visible to anyone. And that made it powerful, because fake alibis are usually fragile. But this one, it was digital, timestamped, public, and recorded. So investigators did something unusual. They moved on. They looked at other possibilities: unknown attackers, burglary, random violence, someone from Natalie's past perhaps. But the crime scene didn't support it. There was no forced entry, no theft, no ransacking. The violence was focused, targeted, and very personal. And then CCTV emerged. A figure was captured near Natalie's street, wearing dark clothing and moving deliberately, appearing in the area during the critical window. The person's identity wasn't clear, but the timing mattered. The route mattered. Investigators compared distances, travel time, driving time, walking time, and slowly they realized something important. Even with the live stream running, it might still have been possible for Stephen to leave, commit the attack, and return. But only if the live stream wasn't actually live. The idea seemed unlikely. Why would someone fake a live stream? How would they even do it? Wouldn't viewers notice? Still, detectives couldn't ignore the possibility. Stephen McCullagh was arrested. He was questioned and released, then arrested again. Each time, police dug deeper. They revisited the house, measured distances, reconstructed timelines, tracked phone movements, reviewed CCTV repeatedly, and still, the live stream continued to loom over the case, a 6-hour wall of digital certainty, unless it wasn't certainty at all. Digital forensic analysts were brought in. Their job was simple: determine whether the live stream was genuine. They didn't start with what viewers saw. They started with the data behind it. Timestamps, upload behavior, streaming metadata, input logs, frame patterns, audio consistency. At first glance, everything looks normal. But then, small inconsistencies began to appear. The gameplay lacked spontaneity. No sudden pauses, no unexpected reactions, no interruptions. Everything flowed too smoothly. It was too perfect, too predictable. Investigators looked closer. Keyboard inputs were perfectly timed. Mouse movements repeated patterns, and game progress followed a clean sequence. It looked less like live play and more like a recording. Then analysts examined chat interaction. There were none. No responses to viewers, no reacting to comments, no acknowledgement of anything happening live. For a supposed live stream, it was strangely isolated. Then came the breakthrough. The stream had been pre-recorded. It wasn't happening in real time. It had been captured earlier, then scheduled and broadcast as if it were live. While viewers believed Stephen was sitting at his desk, he was somewhere else entirely. The alibi didn't just collapse, it inverted. The live stream wasn't proof of innocence, it was proof of preparation. It required planning, recording gameplay, setting up broadcast software, scheduling the upload, ensuring continuity. It wasn't spontaneous, it was deliberate. And that changed everything, because now investigators weren't looking at a suspect with a convenient alibi. They were looking at someone who had engineered one. At trial, prosecutors built the story piece by piece. They began with Natalie, her excitement, her pregnancy, her plans for Christmas, the baby she had already named. Then they introduced Stephen, the relationship, the messages, the future they appeared to be building. Then the night of the murder, the World Cup final, Natalie returning home, the quiet street, the sudden violence. Jurors heard how the attack was prolonged, how neighbors reported screams, how the assault involved stabbing, beating, and strangulation. They heard that the attacker stayed long enough for the violence to escalate. This wasn't impulsive, it was sustained. Then prosecutors turned to the alibi. The jury watched the live stream. 6 hours of gameplay, calm, routine, normal. Then digital experts took the stand. They explained the timestamps, the lack of live interaction, and recorded input patterns, the broadcast behavior. The jurors learned the stream had been created earlier, then played back. A performance, not reality. Prosecutors then showed how the timing fit. A pre-recorded stream running while the suspect was free to move, free to travel, free to attack. The jury also heard about Stephen's behavior afterward. He attended Natalie's wake, sat with grieving family members, accepted comfort, and offered sympathy, all while investigators believed he had created the alibi himself. Police interviews were also revealed. When questioned, Stephen answered no comment again and again and again, more than 80 times. The prosecution described the killing as planned, calculated, and premeditated. They argued the pregnancy created pressure, a future he didn't want, a responsibility he wasn't prepared for. The defense suggested another attacker, an unknown killer, someone else entering the home. But the strands of evidence tightened. The relationship, the motive, the timing, the CCTV, and the pre-recorded stream. Everything pointed in one direction. The jury deliberated just 2 hours. That's all they needed to return a verdict of guilty. Stephen McCullagh was convicted of murdering Natalie McNally and her unborn child. The live stream meant to save him had become the evidence that exposed him. A YouTuber went live, but the stream wasn't real. And while the internet watched a performance, a murder was being carried out. This was the case of the killer who made a YouTube alibi. Thank you for watching. This is Infamous Histories TV. If you enjoy detailed true crime stories, deep investigations, and shocking twists like this one, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday. There's always another case, another mystery, another story waiting to be told. I hope to see you again for the next one.